Hi, my name is Phil. I like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss a couple of communications from Michel Barnier, Chief Negotiator for the EU. One is his response to Francois, one of the least gifted Brexiteers in Parliament, and another is a general one, much more important one, about the state of Brexit and what people need to be mindful of. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So just to begin with, some people may be aware. So Francois, who is a thoroughly obnoxious piece of work and is chair of the so-called ERG, the European Research Group, nothing to do with Europe or research. It is technically a group. Quite a lot of conservative backbenchers are in this group, and he is the chair of it, and it's basically a Eurosceptic group. And Francois, I did a video on this a week or two ago, wrote to Michel Barnier, basically being cheeky as hell on the pretense of trying to help out, you know, get a Brexit deal, but in reality just being cheeky. And one of the things he sort of said was the idea of, oh, you need to understand that we cannot accept the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice. Now, I said in the video at the time, well, I think you'll find, if I were Michel Barnier, or if I were helping him draft his response, I'd be pointing out, actually, I think you'll find you personally voted to accept the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice. And that's sort of what he's done. So Barnier's written a letter here. I'll just quickly go through. It says, thank you for your letter of the 26th of June. So it was a few weeks ago. It's a pleasure to hear from UK elected representatives, having been an elected representative for many years myself. Because, of course, what the Brexiteers constantly try and push is the idea that, oh, you know, the EU, it's all unelected bureaucrats. Absolute nonsense. They've got civil servants, the same as we have civil servants, but actually the people who make the decisions are all elected, and elected by far more people than elect our MPs. It says, I value the crucial role you play in scrutinising and holding your government to account. Not that he's ever done any of that. It says, as I have been saying on numerous occasions, I have always been and remained interested in hearing the views of UK parliamentarians. And indeed he has. He's received a great many of them. It says, in this spirit, I have over the past years met British politicians representing the entire spectrum of views on Brexit, including members of the European Research Group, which you chair. While nobody has been able to demonstrate to me the added value of leaving the most integrated economic and free trade area in the world, I have always respected the UK's decision to withdraw from the EU. In this spirit, the EU negotiated the withdrawal agreement with your government. In this same spirit, we approach the ongoing negotiations with your great and indeed free country, which will remain a close neighbour. Interestingly, it's spelt neighbour now the American way, and I don't know whether that was. Now, I do know, because I know a lot of Europeans who will just naturally learn American English, but I was wondering if that was deliberate. But I suspect not. I suspect it is just because he will have learnt American English like many other people on the continent will have done. But I just saw it and I just thought, I wonder if it's a little pop there himself. I don't think it is. But, you know, which will remain a close neighbour, friend and ally of the European Union. The outline, blah, blah, blah here. But the key thing is, of course, what he says here is making the point. He says, the outlines of such a comprehensive future partnership were negotiated with Prime Minister Boris Johnson and agreed between him and the EU 27 in the political declaration in October 2019. The political declaration fully respects the UK's sovereignty as it respects that of the EU and its member states. This political declaration, agreed by your Prime Minister and voted for by the House of Commons, behave yourself. It's not the House of Commons just yet. Nearly. The House of Commons, including yourself, as part of the withdrawal agreement ratification, states the following on the role of the Court of Justice of the European Union in the future relationship. And he quoted it here, just as I did before. Should a dispute raise a question of interpretation of provisions or concepts of union law, the arbitration panel should refer the question to the Court of Justice of the European Union as the sole arbiter of union law for a binding ruling as regards the interpretation of union law. Conversely, there should be no reference to the Court of Justice of the European Union where a dispute does not raise such a question. It's perfectly simple. Basically what they're saying is, if anything is a matter of European Union law, then of course the Court of Justice of the European Union will have the final say on it. And if it's got nothing to do with European Union law, then do what you like, son. It says this wording reflects the legal reality that the Court of Justice of the European Union must have the final word on the interpretation of EU law. Which is simple. That's all that's required. All we are asking of the UK is to honour its commitments in the political declaration. You know, and you know, and it goes on like that. So that's his response to Marc Francois there, pretty much saying, you know, what I said he would inevitably say there. But there was a much more serious communication. I'll put a link in the description below as well. It's not a huge document, this one. It's 34 pages. When I say 34 pages, you know, I mean the 34th page is blank, so you know it's about 30 pages really. And what it is, this is Michel Barnier basically warning people in the EU as well as the UK what the reality is now for the 1st of January 2021, because he's warning about the inevitable changes to the relationship between the UK and the EU. And crucially, and this is absolutely crucial that people understand this, he makes it clear that these things are going to change regardless of what is agreed between the EU and the UK by the end of the year. Because there may still be people who think that we're going to negotiate a deal. Now, we may well agree something by the end of the year. Something. But it makes no difference what that something is. It's important to note that there is no longer an option of keeping things as they are. Because, as Michel Barnier notes in this document, he said, because the UK has decided not only to leave the EU, but also the customs union and the single market, well, that means we lose the benefits of those systems. And that's all there is to it. We have chosen not just to leave our membership behind, but specifically to withdraw from the customs union and the single market. Despite the fact, of course, that in 2016, we were absolutely going to have full access to the single market. Now, we want no access to the single market. That's Boris Johnson's stated position. So in the document, what he's doing now is for each section, he states what the situation is now. It's very, very clear. It's a very good read. He states what the situation is now in the transition period, and it's the same situation that existed while we were members, and how it will change for various things, including trading goods, trading services, energy, travel, company and civil law, data, intellectual property rights. That's going to change, for example. So those are some of the more notable things. A few others as well. So trading services, of course, is going to be really interesting because no attention is really paid to this in the UK, largely because the Brexiteers have no answer. I mean, they have no solution to trading goods either, but they can talk bollocks about that for a bit and hope for the best. But for services, they've got nothing. It's actually quite interesting. I had a comment on a video yesterday saying, oh, I see the EU are going to put in some special considerations for the City of London, you know, the financial centre in the UK. Another example of them backing down on something. I'm thinking, what? I'm reading this. This has just come out and it's saying the opposite. You know, Barnier is making it clear in this document. Authorisations for British-based businesses to deal with the EU will be invalid the second the transition period ends, and that is now set legally as January the 1st, 2021. There is no way of changing that now unless both the EU and the UK change the law. And from Boris Johnson's point of view, that's politically impossible. It's not going to happen. So that is now definitive. And that's what he talks about. He doesn't even talk about the ending of the transition period. He just now states 1st of January 2021, because that's all there is to it. Now, that doesn't mean that British businesses can't possibly trade in services with the EU, because they could get authorisation. It's just at the moment, they get that authorisation in the UK. Well, we will not be able to grant that authorisation anymore. Not part of the EU, not part of the single market. So they'll have to apply overseas. And that's a bit trickier as well, because they would have to demonstrate full compliance with all EU rules, for example, to be able to do this. And you can sort of tell how tricky. I mean, I'm not a legal expert here. I can't judge whether or how difficult that's going to be. What I can judge is the fact that a great many British British-based companies who wish to be able to continue to provide services to the EU have moved offices to the EU so that there's not going to be any difficulty. And this is actually quite important for a lot of people as well. Take insurance, for example, really quick example. So it might be that there are some British-based companies at the moment that are insured by an EU insurance company. And there may be EU companies that are insured by a UK-based insurance company. They're both going to, because it cuts both ways as well. EU providers won't be able to trade in services in the UK if the UK say no, which inevitably they will. Be stupid not to. So, you know, people need to be careful of things like that. On the 1st of January, if you have a business and you're insured, are you insured by, if you're in the EU, by an EU-based insurer, and in the UK by a UK-based insurer? Or do you trust that your insurer has got all the necessary authorization that will continue beyond the transition period? And there's so many cases like this that people need to be careful of. And then there's a big one on you know, financial services, and I quote this. It says, as of 1st of January 2021, authorization to provide services from the United Kingdom across the EU will stop applying. That's specifically related to financial services. So the idea that the EU have done some special deal with the City of London. In fact, the City of London is the deal they will never do. There's no way, because it provides competition for them. They're not that stupid. And at the end of this section as well, a very significant section, it says advice to businesses and member state administrations, because that's important as well, civil service in various countries. It says insurance operators, banks, investment firms, trading venues and other financial service providers should finalise and implement their preparatory measures by 31st of December 2020. Big old warning there to sort yourself out, get your house in order. Now, the entire document, of course, doesn't tell us anything we didn't know before if we were paying attention. It's what we've been told for years, but many refuse to believe it. Now it's happening. Some may still choose not to believe it. Nothing we can really do that, at least not for another 173 days. But there it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's all getting a bit real now. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.